Eva is a hero in every sense of the word.
Eva is a survivor.
Eva was a person with an extraordinary story.
Eva went on to live a life of substance.
Eva is a champion of truth.
To me, Eva is about being bold and speaking out against hatred when you see it.
Eva is a devoted sister.
Eva is an inspiration to be more than what you've been through.
Eva is a healer.
Someone who other generations can look up to.
A woman of compassion.
The light against the darkness.
An inspiration to be more human and to be whole.
The messenger for today, which is why we need to tell her story.
I accidentally stumbled on the cure from victimhood. I didn't look for it, I just happened to stumble in it, and I feel that I am somehow privileged. Every human being who has been hurt, damaged, victimized, has the human right to free themselves from that victimization, and they are the only ones who can do it. So this is the story. From the moment that I saw the dead bodies on the latrine, it hit me that that can happen to me, and I made a silent pledge that I will never let it happen to me. I have to survive it and make it one more day. That was always the uppermost thing in my mind. When I was in Auschwitz, I thought if I would just relax, that I would die.
Her story resonates with me not just as an artist portraying her work, but very personally, you know, to learn about a person who has been through what she went through, lost as much as she lost, and just lived her life so fully and not without joy. So when I play Eva, I feel like I have to be 10 different things at once. She's a child, but she has to grow up so quickly. So she's experiencing this horrific, traumatic event, but the entire time she's also thinking about her sister. So I think about my younger sister, Gabby, and the lengths that I would go to protect her if she were in danger or if her life was at stake.
When it came to setting Eva's story, as I started to read more and learn more and ultimately to interview Eva, it really left an impression on who I am as a person.
It was really exciting to meet Eva. I've done quite a bit of historical fiction, and I never get to meet the people that I write about. So it's exciting to read their words and watch their interviews and then actually meet them in person.
So Eva came out and we went back to interview her, and from the get-go, she was just a fiery individual. She had so much spirit.
She just reminds me of like my own grandmother. She's like making fun of my hair and commenting about, where I live, or it's just really funny. It brought it all into perspective in a way that I've not experienced before in my historical work.
I heard they used to go to the opera with your sister in Cluj.
Cluj, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because my aunt was a big opera buff. And I said to my aunt, I don't like any show that they are singing from the beginning to the end. Because I am not very musical. So you're a musical person?
Growing up, I was on percussion and piano, and then I wanted to write, the music.
Yeah, but as you write your song, don't get into the gruesome details of the gas chamber. No, because I don't really think that it's necessary to really describe the details for people to understand that people were dying there.
Right.
And the Nazis were so evil, and they felt good about it.
Josef Mengele was the doctor who worked at Auschwitz, and he performed the twin experiments, which Eva and Miriam were part of. He was really interested in genetics and wanted to see if twins who were genetically similar, or exactly the same, if they were identical twins, how they would react and change over time, how they would deal in these certain situations.
We are taken to experiment 6 days a week. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday was the blood lab. They took a lot of blood. They would just simply tie the arm here and also the right arm to restrict the blood flow. So they would take blood from my left arm. In my right arm, the injections were given with big needles. Each injection, 1 needle. It was painful. I would count the needles. I never saw the needles going in. I wouldn't look at it. And I would think that after the 5th one, maybe that was it. At times there was a 6th and a 7th.
A key feature of the concentration camps in general, but was definitely a key feature of Mengele's work. He didn't see them as people. He saw them as lesser than, as non-human.
Without intervention, evolution will repeat itself, 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 repeat itself. Like the dinosaurs, before us greatness will abandon.
Ist noch der jüdische Rasse in Europa.
It's important to observe what has happened in the past so that we can move on to the future. The fact that this happened not too long ago, and we're still living in times where there's just so much civil unrest and race is being discriminated against, killings happening, unnecessary killings just because of someone's race, just because of someone's belief, or just because of who someone loves.
Particularly when it comes to speaking about important moments like the Holocaust, I very strongly believe that we have to tell those stories. We have to keep those stories alive, because if we don't tell them, then we are doomed to repeat them.
But the truth is we are doing it again, right? We have kids in cages in this state who might not ever see their parents again.
Growing up Jewish, I was taught to recognize what it looks like when people and governments seek to take power by dehumanizing and victimizing others. Today, we see that more than ever in my lifetime. We had literal Nazis and white supremacists marching in Charlottesville. We had insurrectionists storm the Capitol. Our leaders dehumanize and speak terrible things about the most vulnerable people in society. As a Jew, as an artist, and a person in this world, I feel an enormous responsibility to name that.
So I think Eva's story is really important to tell in opera, that every life has value.
I feel sorry for them. What kind of a miserable mind would get up in the morning and say how many people I can kill? I would not want to live in a mind like that. But it's always evil, and it always doesn't make any sense. And during a terrible depression, they had to find a scapegoat. And because Jews are only not even point%. So it's always easy to pick on the Jews, because who will stand up for the Jews? Very few people. And right now we see anti-Semitism again.
Look at this shit! This is beautiful! Holy shit! Woo! You will not replace us! People coming down the stairs. You will not replace us! You will not replace us!
So you see me now, and I look good.
I love the vest. It's amazing.
You like that?
The blue, yeah, it's very good.
And your scarf, it's very colorful.
I have lots of blue scarves, and people buy me all kind of blue scarves. Wanted to show you where our barrack was. Okay. All right. Our barrack was right here, the second barrack from here, from the corner. So we would be walked from here, almost just crossing the camp and leaving. So this is the whole size of the camp. That is, the blood lab was very close to our barrack. We didn't go, and we walked from it. But to the experiment where we were sitting naked for 8 hours, that was in Auschwitz I. We also walked there, but that took an hour and a half to get there.
Auschwitz was liberated by the Soviet Red Army, and liberation came when no one expected it. Eva and Miriam were separated for the first time. Eva had been at the hospital recovering from a deathly illness that she'd gotten as part of the experiments. Eva was desperate to find Miriam. The camp was in chaos, and she just had to find her sister. Eva was so afraid that if she didn't find Miriam during this time, that they would never see each other again.
in 1992, it was very strange. I had 3 nightmares that I was with my sister exactly every night, the same thing. She collapsed in my arms and she was bleeding. And after the 3rd night that I had the same crazy nightmare, I called until finally I reached my brother-in-law and said, Miriam is dying, she's in the hospital. I have never buried any member of my family, and I wanted to say goodbye to her. I also wanted to say goodbye to my kidney she was carrying with her. My brother-in-law said, we cannot wait for you, the funeral is in 10 hours. So I was left with a lot of pain, and I didn't really know the ways that would express itself, but I would wake up suffocating. I could feel how she died. Her lungs were filled with cancer, and I was afraid to go back to sleep. One month after she died, I received a telephone call from a professor at Boston College, and he said to me, I have heard you speak, and I want you to come to Boston College. I agreed. And then he said, when you come to Boston College, I would like you to bring a Nazi doctor with you. The last project that Miriam and I worked on before she died, we finished a documentary done by a German television about the Mengele twins. And when I received a copy of that film, there was a Nazi doctor in the film interviewed. I contacted him with the translator, and I invited him to come to Boston. Well, he said he said, I'm too old, I am not going to travel to the United States, and my health is not that good, but I'm willing to meet with you at my house in Germany. Dr. Munch was very kind, very open. He shook my hand, and we were sitting on metal chairs. Well, he was 82 at the time, Dr. Munch, and he went back into the house 5 times, and each time he came back with a pillow that he handed me, not to anybody else, just me. I asked him, I said, excuse me, Dr. Munch, what are you trying to do? He said, well, I want to make sure you are comfortable on these metal chairs. I said, I said to Dr. Munch, Dr. Munch, you were in Auschwitz when I was there, right? Did you ever walk by the gas chamber? Did you ever go into the gas chamber? Do you know how the gas chambers operated? And he said, yes, that's a nightmare that I have every day. He was stationed outside looking through a peephole to see what was going on. The canisters were opened outside the roof, dropped through opening that fell to the floor. It operated like dry ice, so the gas was rising from the floor. And as it was hitting, people started suffocating, so they would climb on top of each other, forming a little mountain of intermingled bodies. And Dr. Munch looked when he saw that the people on the top of the pile stopped moving. He signed one death certificate. No names, of course, just the number of people that were murdered. None of those death certificates have been found. What I said to him, Dr. Munch, that is important information. I am going to Auschwitz in 1995. I want you to go with me. I want you to sign a document at the ruins of the gas chamber in the company of witnesses, what you just told me. And he said to me immediately, I would love to do it. So now I'm coming back to Terre Haute, Indiana, so excited that I will have an original document signed by a Nazi. And I wanted to thank him. And 10 months after that, one morning I woke up and I said, how about a letter of forgiveness from me to him? I knew right away that he would find it a meaningful gift. I wrote the forgiveness letter, which I call Declaration of Amnesty, for the 50th anniversary to the liberation of Auschwitz. I didn't think that the survivors would understand it or like it, but I was not going to be going back to being a victim again. I made a list of 20 words relating to the experiments. I read those words clear and loud. And I said after I finished reading them, in spite of all that, I forgive you. And it made me feel unbelievably good to even have the power over the angel of death of Auschwitz to forgive him. And if I forgave Mengele, the worst of them, then I might as well forgive everybody who has ever hurt me. And let me tell you, I forgave everybody.
It makes you feel good. Does it make you feel like you have done something that... Eva Mozes Kor, a twin who survived as a child Josef Mengele's experiment at Auschwitz 50 years ago, hereby give amnesty to all Nazis who participated directly or indirectly in the murder of my family and millions of others. I extend this amnesty to all governments who protected Nazi criminals for 50 years, then covered up their acts and covered up their cover-up. 50 years after liberation from Auschwitz, I, Eva Mozes Kor, in my name only, give this amnesty because it's time to go on. It's time to forgive, but not forget. It's time to heal our souls. It's time to open all classified and personal files, not only for the sake of history, but to alleviate human suffering. I, a citizen of the free world, declare here at Auschwitz that I have the human right to locate my Auschwitz file, so I know what germs and chemicals were injected into my body 50 years ago. I expect the leaders of the world to put politics aside and, for the sake of all humanity, assist us in getting our files. Help us make it possible for every Mengele guinea pig, for every survivor, to find their files, their stories, their past. I, the only living member of a very large family, in their name and mine, appeal to the U.S. Congress, to the Israeli Knesset, to the German legislatures, and to others who have the power to pass laws dismantling all Nazi-related investigative units, such as the U.S. Justice Department Office of Special Investigation, and open up all the Nazi files to survivors and the public. Look up to the sky. Here in Auschwitz, the souls of millions of victims are with us. And I am saying with them as my witness, enough is enough. 50 years, it's more than enough. I am healed inside. Therefore, it gives me no joy to see any Nazi criminal in jail, nor do I want to see any harm come to Josef Mengele, the Mengele family, or their business corporations. I urge all former Nazis to come forward to testify to the crimes they have committed without fear of any persecution. Here in Auschwitz, I hope in some small way to send the world a message of forgiveness, a message of peace, a message of hope, a message of healing. No more wars, no more experiments without informed consent, no more gas chambers, no more bombs, no more hatred, no more killing, and no more Auschwitz. I'm signing this document January 27, 1995. Eva Mozes Kor.
How do you live differently because of Eva's story?
So that's a super personal question, and I might regret saying this on camera, but I'm going to say it because it happens to a lot of people. I think that the most difficult thing that ever happened to me was that I was raped by somebody who I loved and trusted, and that I'm not alone in that. That's right. That's the majority of sexual assault cases. But I resented it, and I felt just horrible anxiety every time I had to be around them. And I was letting that really run my days and run my choices and my newer, healthier relationships. Earlier this year, after I knew I was going to play this role and I read Eva's book and I did a lot of research, it made me really think twice about the power of forgiveness. And so I went back and kind of read through some letters and really forgave that person, like truly 100% forgave them. And it just felt like I was a different person when I made that decision. And my relationships with the people around me changed in a really positive way. So thanks, Eva.
I don't know how I can ask you other questions.
Well, it's the truth.
Take a piece of paper, write on it whatever you want to say about that terrible event. At the bottom of the letter, you have to be aware of that. You have to write the word, I forgive you, and mean that. Do not mail the letter. The letter is for you to know that you are free from that terrible event. And you are going to live on your life, and you have the human right.
Now, I resonated with Eva's search and in some aspects of the trauma that she felt, just from reflecting on some of my past with racially based discrimination and bullying from my childhood. However, it was Eva who taught me through forgiveness that those experiences don't have to define who you are today.
This story is about forgiveness and healing.
It's hard to comprehend and fathom with my own life experience.
We've all been through a lot in the last 4 years, but really the last decade. You know, the world is it's a scary place right now.
This year has pretty much just been a terrible year for a lot of people, so just listening more and checking up on people and just making sure that I'm the best version of myself.
I think art is ultimately what's going to help us heal from this moment.
When art responds to the world around it, it brings a sense of immediacy and power.
Because I believe that if you are emotionally stirred, that you will act.
Well, I mean, I am a mom already, and I have another one on the way, and I think about the world, and I hope that the world continues to heal and be a forgiving place for my children.
We cannot wait to share Eva's story with you.
What I discovered for myself was life-changing. The whole idea that I had the power to forgive, no one could give me that power, no one could take it away from me, it was all mine. Once you are victimized, most people do not know how to heal themselves. You are in control of your life. I get up every morning and I say, I'm still alive. That's pretty good. And then second thing I say, what can I do today to make the world better?